welcome to On This Day in Tudor History with me, Claire Ridgway, author of On This Day in Tudor History. It's quite atmospheric today because we're on yellow alert for high winds today, so we've got some atmosphere going on here. Okay, where am I taking you today? Well, like yesterday, we're in the year 1541, a very sad period for Queen Catherine Howard. For on this day in Tudor history, Monday, the 7th of November 1541, Thomas Cranmer, Archbishop of Canterbury, visited Catherine Howard, who was, of course, the fifth wife of King Henry VIII. She was staying in her chambers at Hampton Court Palace. She was under sort of really house arrest. She was being guarded, so she was only allowed in her chambers, guards outside her doors, and her jewels had also been seized. And the previous day, she'd had a delegation. I told you about it in yesterday's video. She'd had a delegation of council members from the Royal Council to inform her of the allegations that had been made against her concerning her sexual past with Henry Manox and Francis Derham, while she'd been living in the household of her step-grandmother, Agnes Tilney, Dowager Duchess of Norfolk, a very prestigious household. Now, according to Archbishop Cranmer, although Catherine had calmly denied everything the day before and kind of refused to be drawn into conversation on these outlandish claims, as she probably saw them, this day she'd become rather hysterical. Perhaps she'd had time to kind of take on board what could happen to her, what these claims could mean for her. And Cranmer recorded in a letter to the king, which can be found in the remains of Thomas Cranmer, Archbishop of Canterbury, a collection of his letters and writing. He recorded, "I found her in such lamentation and heaviness as I never saw no creature, so that it would have pitied any man's heart in the world to have looked upon her. And in that vehement rage she continued, as they informed me which be about her, from my departure from her unto my return again. And then I found her, as I do suppose, far interred towards a frenzy." Now, in his wonderful biography of Catherine, Young and Damned and Fair, historian Gareth Russell notes that a total shattering, the culmination of her dangerous ecstasy, that's how Cranmer described her, was only narrowly avoided, in Cranmer's opinion, when a messenger arrived from the king. This messenger told of how the king would be merciful if Catherine confessed the truth. So that was in a bid to calm her down and to get her talking. Catherine was still upset, but Cranmer recorded how she began to be more temperate and quiet. But unfortunately, after a little pausing, she suddenly fell into a new rage, much worse than she was before. Oh dear, I can imagine the Archbishop of Canterbury trying to deal with this weeping, hysterical young woman. I expect he just didn't know what to do. Now, Catherine did eventually confess to Cranmer over those 24 hours. Gareth Russell explains that her first confession no longer survives, but we have her second confession and we also have her final confession. And her final confession has been used by some historians to back up the idea that Catherine was abused, sexually abused. Now, her second confession that we have does not support that theory at all. In the confession, she confesses to exchanging gifts with Francis Derham, him leaving her an indenture and obligation of £100 when he went to Ireland. She confesses to being content for the two of them to call each other husband and wife, and there being communication in the house that we two should marry together. She confesses to kissing him and also confesses to a bit more than kissing. Catherine said, "As for carnal knowledge, I confess as I did before, that divers times he hath lain with me, sometime in his doublet and hose, and 2 or 3 times naked, but not so naked that he had nothing upon him, for he had always at least his doublet, and as I do think, his hose also. But I mean naked where his hose were put down." Catherine also went on to tell of how Derham would bring wine, strawberries, apples and other foods to the dormitory to make good cheer after my lady were gone to bed. So a bit of a midnight feast. She, however, denied some of what had been said by other witnesses. She denied stealing the keys to the dormitory from her step-grandmother, but stated that for many other causes, the doors have been opened, sometime overnight and sometime early in the morning, as well at the request of me as of other. So she was admitting to sort of requesting that the door of the dormitory be open. So, of course, these men, because Derham wasn't the only one, so that the men could come and make good cheer with the girls in the dormitory. Catherine, in that confession, also made mention of a certain Mr. Culpeper, a name that would come up over the next few days, saying that Derham had asked her on his return from Ireland if she was going to marry Culpeper, because while Derham was away, Catherine had moved on. Later that same day, Catherine changed her mind about her confession, and in what Gareth Russell describes as her new and thoroughly unbelievable version of events, she accused Derham of violating her against her will, something that was not corroborated by her previous confession or by the eyewitness accounts of others present in the dorm. Now, Catherine was never alone with Derham in the dorm. She even actually shared a bed with another girl. You had a bedfellow. And yes, this other girl wasn't very happy with Catherine and Derham's carryings on in the same bed. It is clear from Cranmer's account of his meetings with Catherine that he did not believe her new claims either. Russell talks about how Catherine threw Derham to the wolves while trying to save herself. And I completely concur with him. I completely agree. And I can understand how a young woman who knows that her cousin was executed on charges of adultery, who is in a complete panic at what is happening, would do absolutely anything to keep her head, including throwing her past lover to the wolves. She must have been truly terrified. Of course, Catherine's changed confession wasn't going to save her, even though the king had suggested by messenger that he would be merciful if she told the truth. Catherine was, of course, beheaded on the 13th of February 1542. Sorry to leave you on such a gloomy note there. Perhaps something better will happen tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you for joining me. You can subscribe by clicking round about there. You can hit the bell to be notified as videos go live, and you can, of course, give me a like as well. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.